Hi, I'm Iceberg, and welcome to the Iceberg Hour. We're here today with musician, writer, Wendell, the Music Man Moore. How you doing, Wendell?
Everything is lovely, my brother. I'm glad to be here.
Introduce yourself to our audience and tell them where you're from.
Well, my name is Wendell, the Music Man. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm a former Stax artist. I work with a lot of the Memphis artists, Al Green, Isaac Hayes, Willie Mitchell, David Porter, Nita Ward, Rufus Thomas, all the old school heads.
A legend like yourself, how was it working with all those other legends?
It was a learning experience for me because actually I was still a kid, but the word got around that there was a kid in town, and then he's on hit. So they would come to my house and ask my mother if I could go and play with them. She said, just get him back before it's too dark.
Were you self-taught, or did you learn to play music by
Well, I was self-taught at first, and then I started hanging around a lot of the older players in Memphis, a lot of the gospel players like the Spirit of Memphis, the Eminem, the Joy of Memphis, the Gospel Four. A lot of those guys helped raise me, and later on when I got to college, I started doing music theory.
Memphis is so historic with music. Elvis Presley's from Memphis, isn't he?
I used to play in front of Graceland Mansion.
Wow.
That was my Saturday hustle, Yeah, I had a little band, and when the tourists would come in, I talked them into letting me play. They didn't want to do it, I said, man, come on, dude, get out of here. I said, man, just let me play one time for free. From then, every Saturday, man, the bucket just be full, because, we were playing blues, and all of us was, we were very young, but we were good.
I know I see a lot of those legends still on television, and some of them have passed away.
Oh, yeah.
But I noticed that a lot of those musicians never really did anything to bring young artists, comedians, bands, singers into the business. What are you doing to change that?
Well, actually, I work with quite a few young people. I'm an organist too. So at my church, I used to live in Bakersfield, and I started an after-school program. About 30 kids every day.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, man. They would. As a matter of fact, their parents would come looking for them because they wouldn't know where they were. But they said they're probably at their church with that boy up there. And that's where they would find the kids. Man, I had some kids so bad. A couple of them I had to take back home and say, you can keep him at home. But after I thought about it, and I said, these two right here, those are my challenges. And once I, really got into their heads and found out their parents were dealing drugs and they didn't want to be at home because they was always drunk and fighting, so they would come to the church to do music. And so the two worst ones, I say, you know what, y'all gonna stay after the class and we're going to McDonald's because I want to, find out what's really going on. And once I got to know them, I started liking them, and they actually became the two best kids in the class.
Wow.
As far as musicianship, they started, they wanted to get their hair cut, and then eventually one of them found a little girlfriend, and man, I couldn't keep him away from church.
Do you know if they still pursuing the music to this day?
No, they're not.
They're not?
Yeah, when I moved, it dropped because there was nobody that took interest in doing it.
Oh, wow.
And it's a job, I was doing it for free.
Oh.
Yeah.
On a normal day when you're preparing for a show, what's your day like?
Well, normally every morning I wake up around 5 because that's the way my system is built. And I try to go back to sleep, but I can't because, you know, constantly thinking of new things to do, new ideas. And so I'll get up, and pretty much after I get up, my phone is just ringing, constantly ringing. So I'm actually dealing with phone calls and trying to prepare music for a show coming up, or, you know, I have my own music that I'm working on, trying to get that ready. And pretty much, you know, my day is just music all day.
Well, do you have a set preference as far as working with artists? Any particulars? Because I know you was telling me you had got some new singers.
Well, actually, you know, I play a lot of places, and I'm constantly running into new singers. Some better than others, but you know, I really focus on the ones that can really fit into what I'm doing. And like Jocelyn, she's one that fits because, you know, she feels what I feel.
Right.
And so I'll try to get singers that that has a natural feel, but most important, their personality got to be right. You know, if they don't have the right personality, I can't work with them.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show and playing in the band.
Yes, sir.
For the show. I really appreciate that. I really do.
You're welcome.
And I'd like for you to come back. Do you have anybody you want to shout out to?
I know 5 people owe me $10.
$10 each?
$10 each. So I need my money. I just want to shout out to my band members. A lot of the guys that I have more than one band. I had another band wanted to play today, but I chose the older members, the older guys.
Okay.
You know, they know everything. You know, so I can just call the song off.
And I like you guys for letting me come up there and play.
Oh man,
and mess up the whole song.
As a matter of fact, I'm firing the bass player today. You got the job.
Thank you, Mr. Music Man.
All right.
Give it up for the Music Man. Hi, I'm Iceberg, and welcome to the Iceberg Hour. We're here today with Afrofusion lead guitarist Wendell, the Music Man Moore. How you doing, Wendell?
All right, everything is lovely. All right, my main man, such an inspiration to me. I'm glad I met you, brother.
Hey, man, I'm glad to, man. Won't you introduce your band to our audience?
All right, on keyboards, we have Mikhail Majid, the legendary Mikhail, living legend. All right, on bass guitar, we have Dr. Vic Purvis. Let's give it to him, y'all. And on saxophone, we have Don, the one, Bill. And also my main man, one of the former drifters, Dr. J.R. Miller, the man. And you're listening to, and I am Wendell, the Music Man Moore, and we just come to do what we created to do. All right.
Thank you, Wendell. What song are you guys going to open up with today?
We're going to do one of my favorites by Janet Jackson, That's the Way Love Goes.
One more time for Afrofusion. Hi, I'm Iceberg, and welcome to the Iceberg Hour. We're here today with the lovely Dawseline Burrell, musician, artist, actress, writer, evangelist. How you doing today, Dee?
I'm good. How are you, Iceberg?
I'm fine. Introduce yourself to the audience and tell them where you're from.
I'm Dawseline McAllister Burrell. I'm from Pittsburgh. My father was a bishop. My mother was an educator. I come from a multicultural family where there's a lot of mixtures, Scottish, Italian, Native, Black, and I thank God for that introduction to everything because I think I'm well-rounded. But I call myself a worship therapist.
Tell us, how long have you been in the business?
I've been in ministry all my life. I've only been in the business of acting and writing books for the last maybe 15 years.
Did you start singing in the church?
Yeah, I started singing when I was 10 and a half. I remember that day, it was a Sunday morning. Well, I started singing when I was really young, but I actually started playing when I was 10 and a half. And it was a Sunday morning, and my dad didn't have, his musician had quit. You know how musicians get disgruntled real fast over the money, you know what I'm saying? So she had quit, and I was sitting there, and I heard the voice of God say to me, "Any music's better than no music." At that time, I don't think that was quite true, because I got up there and they were laughing. And my mom said she had prayed that morning, "Lord, please send us some music so it tells you to be more specific when you're praying," because he sent me.
Who actually inspired you to do music?
I think it was just in me, because growing up we had all these instruments in the house, and my brothers, sisters, they're all talented musicians, and it just was a natural thing for us, you know.
Did you have any role models that you looked up to in the business?
Yeah, I mean, all gospel, because my father, they were real strict on that. So it was like a lot of singers, even groups like Commission, Fred Hammond, Yolanda Adams. I mean, older ones. I didn't like the old time music, so I won't name the older ones, but I have more modern.
But I like the old music. I get into it better. You mentioned something earlier about secular music. Explain to the audience, what is secular music?
Well, it's what they call anything other than gospel music. It could be classical, it could be R&B. Anything other than gospel is secular music, or music that ministers to a different part of your body and not the soul.
If you had any information or advice to give to a young musician or artist getting into the business, what would you tell her?
I think it's important to have your own sound. I mean, there's a lot of imitators, and there's a lot of counterfeits, and there's a lot of people trying to sound like other people, but if you have the one person, you don't need somebody else to sound like them. So it's best to cultivate your own sound and your own gift, and then it'll be special. Like, there's only one Mona Lisa.
Right.
There might be another painting just as costly, just as priceless, but there's only going to be one you. So cultivate the sound that is you, and I think it'll go well for you.
Tell us about the book.
The book, The Truth Behind the Preacher's Wife.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah, a divine manual of recovery. I was married to a pastor for 22 years, and basically I put in this book a number of lessons and the things I've been through. And even growing up, I went through a lot of things growing up, sexual abuse and rape and a lot of things. So I wanted people to understand, no matter what you go through, that if you live long enough with the right mindset, you can live past anything. So
And
the
you
book is about,
experienced all that growing
I
up?
experienced it all, yeah.
And you wrote that in your book?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
very transparent. There's a parental advisory on the book, so you know, let you know it's deep.
Did you have any problems creating a book like that with members of your church?
Well, by the time I did the book, my husband had divorced me, and I was kind of kicked out of the church, so it was no problem. But anyways, I'll tell you what the problem was. I wrote the book in 7 days, and I sent it to my girlfriend, and she said, "Well, let's go burn the church down." So I knew the book wasn't ready. It took me 4 years to process and heal, and the book is a whole other book. Same story, but written in love and not anger and unforgiveness. So yeah, it's different.
What publishing company published it? Is it published?
Yeah, I self-published through a company in London, England called Fast Print Worldwide Publishing, and I'm getting ready to rebranch and relaunch and do everything over here in America. Because I was a world traveler at once, I'm about to be again. Just got out of hospice June 3rd, so give me a few minutes. Just 2 more minutes, y'all, just 2 more minutes.
Tell us about that, about the hospice. Can
Well,
you talk about it?
Yeah,
or
I can talk about it.
You okay with
It wasn't
that?
the cancer. I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 25. stage 4 cervical, uterine, and breast cancer. And the first day they diagnosed me, I was married, I had 2 little kids. We were coming home from the doctor's office. The man said, God said to my ex-husband at the time, my husband at the time, he said, do you believe that I can do this thing? He said, yeah. He said, well, speak the word. So he came out around, said something over me. I felt the pain leave. I ran into the restroom. All the cancer, all the tumors fell out in the toilet. And it didn't matter how many times I was re-diagnosed, I knew I was healed. So 26 years of surgeries, literally 39 surgeries total. And it's been 5 years since I had any surgery, no cancer. I do have a lot of cannabis in my life and a lot of Jesus. But I totally am healthy and pain-free and well, getting to pain-free. As long as I keep a certain amount of medicine in my body, I'm pain-free. And I can function.
Good. That's good. Let's
so
get
they
on.
put me in hospice because I had an accident and I couldn't eat. I got a concussion and I couldn't eat, and then I fell on the set and concussion. I had 3 concussions in 3 months and I just couldn't eat anymore. So they said I was failure to thrive, and they tried to put a tube in my stomach. I told them the Lord was fasting some demons out of me and get me back right, you know. So I can eat now. I'm good. I'm back to growing and getting my weight on, and I feel great.
Well, that's good. Nice to see you healthy again.
Thank you.
So let's get on a lighter subject.
Yes.
Do you like collaborating with artists?
Yeah, I really do, because it's something about, well, the scripture says it this way, and I know you're not into a lot of scriptures, and maybe a lot of people aren't, but that's my life, so that's where I have to go. It says 1 can chase 1,000 enemies, and 2 could put 10,000 enemies in flight. So if you get somebody you collaborate with, your one sound can do a lot of damage, sending a lot of love or sending a lot of anger away, or sending whatever your sound is. But if you add another sound, and that harmony and that unity can crush 10,000 more, or add 10,000 more love sounds to somebody. You know, it's really good to collaborate with someone who feels you, though, and has the same kind of spirit.
Tell us, what's a normal day like
For me,
when you're preparing for a show?
usually I'm already prepared, because I don't just prepare for a show. I practice no matter what. You know, I never just say, well, I mean, it's just something I love to do. So if it's a show that just comes out of the clear blue, I'm ready. I'm just always ready, because I just do it all the time. So I'm always prepared.
You're going to perform for us later. What song are you going to do?
I'm going to do a song that I kind of wrote. I heard a song a long time ago. They had a little part that says, my praise is fighting for me. So I took that and did a little mantra or a little chant from it. And then another song that I didn't write by Rescue, called, by Desperation Band, called Rescue. So it's just worship therapy, to encourage, to uplift. I think people are going through a lot, so they need more than negative input, or more than somebody telling them the negative side. Let somebody tell them the good side, and that's me, the encourager.
Do you write your own music, or do you do covers?
I do both.
You do both?
I have a lot of songs I wrote, but there's a lot of good songs that other people wrote that I got to sing.
Yeah. Which one do you like most?
I like writing my own the most, because when you write your own and you sing it, nobody can sing it like you. It's something that you can feel, you know. But then I take other people's songs and I sing them the way I feel it.
Okay.
So it's about the same.
Well, we look forward to hearing you sing. Give it up for Ms. Darceline Burrell.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here with you.
Anytime, anytime.
My praise is fighting for me. Yeah, my praise is fighting for me. Yeah, my praise gives me victory. Yes, it does. My praise gives me victory. Oh, my praise is my weapon. My praise is my weapon. Yeah, my praise.
Hi, I'm Iceberg, and welcome back to the Iceberg Hour. We're here today with comedian Michael J. Carmichael. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing well, Iceberg. Good to see you again, brother. God bless.
Introduce yourself to our audience and tell them where you're from.
Sure. Michael J. Carmichael, comedian. Originally from a town called Batavia, Illinois, which is about 40 minutes outside of Chicago. Although I've been in California here for 30 years now, I still consider that to be my home of home. So it's a place probably where I'm most comfortable.
Do you go home often?
Only once a year. The main reason why I moved to California was because of this nice warm weather. So as long as it's cold in Chicago, I'm pretty much here. But I got a lot of family back there, so I still go back and pay those visits and get those home cooked meals and things like that.
Michael, tell our audience, who were some of your influences growing up?
Wow. Well, I would probably say the top 5 people that I most admired that really brought me into this business. Number 1 was Flip Wilson.
Flip Wilson.
I was a huge Flip Wilson fan when I was growing up. Had his own television show. I loved his style of comedy, which was a storyteller, which is pretty much what I patterned myself to be, a person that tells the stories more so than the one-liners like you see from Rodney Dangerfield and folks. But at the time when I was growing up, there was a lot of folks that, you were able to watch television and really get that good, form and everything about yourself. Now you put kids in front of TV and it's like, you're really rolling the dice. So, but I enjoyed Flip Wilson. I was a huge Dick Van Dyke fan. Loved Jerry Lewis, and even a name that they say is taboo now, but I still give the man credit. I was a big Bill Cosby fan.
Oh, okay.
Loved Bill Cosby, Red Fox, of course the King, Richard Pryor. So
Richard Pryor.
yes, those were the main influences. I did a lot of sneaking down in the basement when I was a kid. My dad would have those albums back down in the basement in the corner tucked away, and I would listen to a lot of Red Fox and Mom's Mabley albums, and getting that language and things like that, and sneaking and laughing, and till I got caught, and my dad actually bought me a Flip Wilson album, and it was clean, and I was like, okay, this is great. I used to dress up and do the whole Flip Wilson routine, but I always went back to that cussing, so.
I was looking at a show the other day on cable. Flip Wilson was good.
He was great.
He was good.
Incredible. I still don't think that he gets the credit that he should for what he did, especially the way that he revolutionized television and also made it possible for these entertainers like Cedric the Entertainer and some of the others that have had their own variety type comedy shows, even all the way to Keenan Ivory Wayans. We all owe a huge debt to Flip Wilson, who kind of kicked that door open and made it possible. A lot of folks don't realize he's the one that really brought Richard Pryor into the mainstream by placing Richard on his show, because at that time he had a very diverse show where not only he had the African American community, but he was one of the first to really cross over. He had the #1 show on television for 5 consecutive seasons. So
Flip Wilson did.
Flip Wilson did, yeah. This was
Flip
in the
Wilson
early
his real
70s.
name? Was that his real name?
Cleroy, no, his real name was Cleroy Wilson.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, he got the name of Flip through being in the service. He was in the Marines, from what I understand.
Flip Wilson?
Flip Wilson,
Wow.
yes. And he used to tell so many jokes on the ship and so forth till they named him Flip, because he was always making folks flip out. So, and that name stuck with him. He became Flip Wilson. So,
That's funny because you see all your new comedians like that, the Wayans brothers and Eddie Murphy, of course, and
yes.
people like that, and they never talk about Flip Wilson. It's always Richard Pryor.
Exactly,
So-
exactly.
But did you know Richard Pryor wrote Sanford and Son?
I sure did.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I saw that. I was like, what?
Yes, yes.
That is amazing.
It is,
Amazing.
it is, yes.
But then when you see Harlem Nights, you
That's
see
true.
them all together.
Exactly,
And that's
yes.
and that's really good.
That movie is a classic too, just because you do see the or I should say 3 of the top comedians of all time. If they could have had Dick Gregory in there, wow, then that would have really
And
kicked it
not
up.
only Dick Gregory, Paul Mooney.
Exactly.
Paul-
Oh, man, incredible. Yeah, he spent a lot of time with Richard writing things together. So.
And I didn't know that. I didn't
Yes.
know that until I was reading the credits on Sanford and Son.
Yes,
And
yes.
I looked at it again. I said, Richard Pryor, Paul Mooney.
Yeah, Paul
That's
Mooney
why the
was
show
good.
was so good.
Exactly.
That show was
exactly.
really good. Do you think the comedians nowadays are as funny as the old comedians?
I think they are. You've seen the revolution of it and how it has evolved. Of course, there's a time frame, and this is why it's hard for comics, like myself and others that tell stories. Television doesn't allow to do that nowadays. You got about 2 or 3 minutes to really kick it off, and then, hey, we're on to the next thing. But yeah, when you start looking at the pool of talent now and how Eddie has kind of opened up doors and brought in mainstream type comics and different genres, and between Netflix and what you actually do at the comedy shows and comedy rooms and all of the different networks, HBO, Showtime. There's so many different avenues of it these days, all the way down to the internet. So yeah, I think it's really broadened out, and I think it's a good thing too, because now there's a lot of voices to be heard.
Do you think some comedians are overhyped?
You know what? I never look at anybody's blessings. If that's what's going on with you, and there are some that you would probably think, wow, okay, how are they getting this light that shined on them and so forth, or that's not that good. Hey, that's their path, and you don't know how somebody's blessings are going to come into their life. And this is the bottom line with comedy, more so than how good you are, it's how many butts can you put in the seat so that we can generate some money.
Right.
So I've met a lot of comics that I didn't think were that funny. I keep those opinions to myself, but I look and the place is packed. So as long as they got them butts in the seat, more power to you.
Because I've seen a couple of comedians and I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't get it, but I've seen some that don't get the attention.
Right.
Have you rolling.
That's true. That's true. There are so many that are out there like that. And then not only that, there's the disparity in the money, not only between the men and the women, which is kind of a travesty these days, but basically just who does what. Some of the things like Monique is going through. Love her comedy, but you can't tell me that no way in the world is Amy Schumer funnier than Monique. No disrespect to Amy Schumer, but you're giving her $15 million and you only offer Mo 5. Yeah. There's an issue with that, and that lady is talented. She's still there. She's still doing her thing. She's still out there. She's doing her thing. She's in the clubs and so forth. She's had a blessed life. I know that there are some issues, and we won't get into that because that's her path and her walk. But I'm with her in 100% in the disrespect that I think that she's getting, whether it's created from her and the things that she's saying or doing, or just that flat out barrier that she's got to break through. This lady won an Academy Award. Folks seem to forget that. Yeah. And with that, there's a standard. A lot of white actresses and so forth that once they win that Academy, I don't care if they had to play a maid in a movie, they're going to be making $15 million for that. Monique, she's done her thing, and they still trying to keep her like, this is her first round. The lady's got a lot of experience. Had a hit television show on television for years. So,
yeah, she did.
She deserves a lot of respect.
I kind of wonder what happened to her. She just disappeared.
I think that she's probably being blackballed to a certain extent. I don't know. I can't say because I don't, I'm trying to break through some of those barriers myself.
Right.
But I think there is a point where she's not getting the real respect that I think that she deserves for what she has done and what she still can do.
Oh, okay. I know you travel a lot, Michael. Because of the way you organize yourself as far as traveling and stuff, do you feel that gets you more attention, notoriety, more, or you just do it for the experience?
Both. I think that you do need the experience, number one, but you also need to connect with your audience too. And going to a small club in Mississippi or Phoenix, Arizona, Chicago, Cleveland, some of these places that I've been to, you really connect with people and get that relationship going. Not only the name Michael J. Carmichael, I think a lot of folks can remember that, but let's say something does come up, the first thing you don't want people wondering is, who is that? Where'd he come from? But if you got folks that you've connected with and so forth, that's like your own little private PR firm out there, as I like to say. So if something jumps off on television, I'm on Comic View, and folks are wondering, there's somebody in your local town that can tell you who this guy is, and I remember seeing him at this little club. And those are the real folks out there, the
Yeah.
real people. You know, yes, we all want to get to the big arenas, but I like being in a small room with 150 people and making that connection, you know.
What are some of the venues you performed at?
Ooh, wow. Well, probably my favorite, of course, is the Comedy Store. I've been there off and on pretty much regularly for the last 15 years. I enjoy the White Room down in Chicago, Illinois, down in Phoenix, Arizona. Can't think of, but their campus place there, Iowa University in Iowa, Chuck's down in Mississippi. So a lot of places that, you know, folks just really treat you well and you enjoy going back to those places. And again, after 15 years in this business, I'm still developing those relationships. So any place and anybody that enjoys the comedy, I'm looking forward to being there.
That's a long time being out there. I know we talked a while back. Still want to do your show?
Still want to do it all the time.
Because I've been thinking about it. I wrote up a treatment, but I didn't know if you liked it. Did you ever get it? I emailed it to you.
I probably did. You know, I get so many.
I know you get a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, you know, not a ton of it to where like, oh man, you like Eddie Murphy now, but I do get those things in. But I'm sure I did, you know, so, you know, I'm always looking
Read
for
it
that.
over and
It's just
and
a
hit
matter
me
of that
back.
timing, that's
Yeah.
it, you know, and making sure, because it's a hustle, you know. I don't have that cash rolling in, so when somebody calls, it's almost like, if I get in word on Wednesday, usually on Friday, I'm on a plane, or if it's anywhere between California, Colorado, Arizona, I'm in my car driving.
Yeah,
you
you
know.
are busy. You're hard
Yes.
to catch up with. You got anybody you want to shout out to?
You know what? Just the supporters out there. There's so many people that have just been wonderful. They come to the show. Those folks that come up to you afterwards and say, you know, nice, kind things or how they enjoyed the show, because it is entertainment. And even whether you're paying $5 to get in there or it's a $25 ticket, you want folks to leave and be satisfied. So to those people that come and support, not only myself, but other comedy as well, you're the folks that are really, you know, in charge. I don't think I have anybody directly, because I always tell folks, thank you. Life is short. My family members know how I support them, the people that are in my inner circle. So always a shout out to the folks that are just in support of myself and comedy in general.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Hey, I thank you for having me, brother. I enjoyed
Looking
it.
forward to having you again sometime.
Oh, yeah, we're
when we
gonna
get
do this.
big and you know Iceberg, but I gotta go on Iceberg show. Boy,
You
it
got
is,
it.
you know.
Anytime. Just give me a call, man.
Michael J. Carmichael.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Michael J. Carmichael here. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. Party atmosphere, brand new season, flying into 2020, making it happen again. So, I'm originally here from Chicago, Illinois. Big difference between here and Chicago. In Chicago, we gotta drive on snow and ice. Not only is it wintertime, but it's slippery. Here in California, folks drive like they on snow and ice. This is absolutely ridiculous, folks. We're just trying to get from A to B. I got a way to sum this up a little bit, and this is how we're gonna do things in California. Old people, your driving time is between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Now, just in case you don't know if you're old or not, if you walk to your car with a walker, if you drive and you're driving up here, or if you just can't remember which direction you're going, you are old. You need to be over in the right-hand lane. And I'm not gonna forget about the people that are driving these Priuses around here, or as I like to call them, Flintstone mobiles. Because I swear to God, y'all starting stopping things just like a yabba dabba doo mobile. Get your butt over in the right-hand lane so that the rest of us that are trying to drive along can get somewhere. And last, and this is most important, Californians, I got 2 words for you. It is called turn signal. That is the stick that you're using on the right-hand side of your car so that you can make a decision about which direction you're going. That doesn't mean that the people behind you absolutely know that you're gonna make a right-hand turn from the left-hand lane. No, you have a turn signal and make the preparation before you get to the corner. Please help us out, because if you don't, I'm gonna buy myself one of them old school type Hummers. You know, not the new ones that they got now. That's not a Hummer, that's a bummer. I'm talking about a real car, a real natural Hummer. We're gonna put a real bumper on there, and I swear to God, every time y'all get in the way, I'm just gonna Mack truck you out so I can get to where I need to go. Now, moving along a little bit from that, reason why I'm in a case like this is because these people here, well, I don't want to put everybody in the same group. I'm gonna just keep it real. There's a lot of dumb people out there. And the reason why that you're stupid is because you can't get out your cell phone. You keep your head in your phone, there's a disconnect that is growing. So, besides for the idiot in the White House, I want to make America great again by making a suggestion that everybody, and I mean everybody, get off your cell phone. See, it's easy for me to make that decision because I'm about to date myself. I'm about to tell you a little bit about the cell phone. First of all, the phone was only invented for it to be in your house. Do you realize that there's a man called Alexander Graham Bell? That's the guy that invented the telephone. So he had no intentions for you to be walking around so that somebody can get a hold of you all the time. You don't need to get in touch with somebody all the time. See, I grew up, like I said, when the telephone was in your house. What did you do? Very simple. You made the phone call before you left home. Very good times. Once you made that phone call, things were good. Nowadays, what do? I call up a friend and tell them that I'm coming over. I'll meet you at 4 o'clock. What's the first thing the brother says? Call me when you get outside. I just told you I'll be there at 4 o'clock. Bring your trifling butt outside and be waiting for somebody. Why do I have to go get a cell phone to tell you something that I just told you in the house? And what burns me up even more, folks, there was a time when your telephone did not ring after 9 o'clock at night. No, I know it seems odd to you, but that was true. If your phone rang after 9 o'clock at night, somebody was either sick, dead, or in jail. Either case, you never answered the phone because obviously there's nothing you can do for them. If they sick, they sick. If they dead, it's obvious. And if they in jail, ain't nothing I can do for you because they sure ain't gonna let your black behind out tonight. So I continue sleeping. Other day I'm with a girl. Telephone ring at 2:30 in the morning. She rolls over and picks it up. Hello? Oh, hey girl, let me call you back. Hangs up. Like, who was that? Oh, that's my sister. Your sister at 2:30 in the morning? Yeah. Well, what does she want? Oh, she just wanted to know what I was doing. At 2:30 in the morning? There's nothing open but you and 7-Eleven? Are you kidding me? So, all right, let me date you a little bit more. This one's really gonna shock you. Folks, do you realize that the telephone in the house was only $10 a month? Yeah, I know you're looking surprised because if you're looking at your phone bill now, it ain't nowhere near that. Phone bill was $10 a month. $10 a month. I remember one time the phone bill went up to $10.25. My dad came in there with the belt and asked, who the hell called China and talked for 45 minutes? Like, sorry, Dad, that was me. I was trying to reach Bruce Lee. Yeah, okay, well, Bruce Lee kicks, don't he? Yes, sir, he sure does. Good, come on in here, because I'm about to kick your behind, raising the phone bill up to $10.25. What's wrong with you, boy? Now, we got these phones, everybody still walk. Folks, let me tell you something. It's getting ridiculous. I was sitting at DMV the other day, just getting some business taken care of, and I happened to notice the place was packed. DMV is always packed. Only thing that's more crowded than DMV is the jailhouse. But DMV was packed. We're looking at the folks in there. Everybody had their head down, looking at their cell phone. Looking at their cell phone. I'm like, this has got to be unreal. Great time for me if I was younger to go outside and rob them because nobody's paying attention. So I'm just gonna ask this, folks, if we can all get together, love one another, and stop this disconnect that's going on. Put your phone down, meet somebody, greet somebody, love somebody. If we can make that decision together here in 2020, I promise you everybody's gonna have a smooth, wonderful life. But again, continuing on my dumb move, I got a problem with these folks that have dogs. Not that you have a pet, but what we're doing is we punking these dogs. How many times have you walked down the street and seen somebody walking and their dog is 3 feet behind them? When I was growing up, dog was bold, fierce, walked out in front of you, showing everybody, this is me and my master. Nowadays, dog, you gotta drag it along. You at your house, doorbell rings. Dog look at you. What you looking at me for? It's your house. Go get the dough, fool. No, somebody else, hey, dog used to bark, go crazy. I'm about to really tell you a story. These days, when I was growing up, there was a dog, his name was Lassie. Lassie had his own television show, had his own lunchbox. Lassie was the dog of the moon. Let me tell you something, folks. Lassie, you would fall down in a hole. Lassie would see what would happen to you. He'd run 56 miles, no restroom break, no T-stop, no nothing. Lassie would do his thing, tell the folks where you was at, and they'd come back and save you. Fall down a hole these days and see what your dog do. It's gonna lay down there right next to you and wonder what's taking you so long to get out the hole. And this is the fun part. Used to be, you let your dog out, run on up the street, use the bathroom in the neighbor's yard, come back. Now what do you see? Somebody walking down the street with a bag of crap, twisting it like they got a sack of money. And the funny thing about it too is if your dog goes on somebody's lawn, first thing people do is look and say, are you gonna pick that up? Used to be, no, and that was a fight. Nowadays, no, I'm sorry, I don't have a bag. You got 10 people reach in their pocket and pull out a bag. We're walking around with bags of dog crap all day long. And this is the real kicker, folks. You never had a dog chase you down the street before, have you? No, that's because these punk dogs these days don't do that. I know when I was a kid growing up, there was 2 blocks that you didn't go down because you knew that that big German Shepherd was gonna be on top of your behind if you came that direction. Folks always had the dog out, no leash, no nothing. You were afraid to go down that street. When's the last time you saw somebody a dog chasing somebody down the street? You ain't gonna see it no more. And folks, this is the real kicker. If Lassie was alive today, he'd be worth $500 million because of the promos and everything that are going on. You'd be filthy rich. We got these little punk dogs these days. First thing they do is just lay down, kick back, and then we put it in a buggy stroller. The thing that's made for the baby, we will go out and pay $1,500 for a buggy to push the dog around in. It's like, this has got to be, are you serious? Are you really serious? A baby buggy for the dog? You're supposed to see a baby when you look in there, and no, you see somebody's ugly dog. Like, you got to be kidding me, people. Let's get realistic with this. Let's bring back some humanity. Let's again join, love, be together, because this is getting way, way, way behind the scenes. So I just want to leave you with this: peace, joy, love, and happiness for the year of 2020. Let's join together and make ourselves a peaceful and joyful life. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Michael J. Carmichael.
We're going to take you back, way back in the time. Listen.